Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Money Matters. It is Thursday and it's June what? June 4th. I had to check. I couldn't remember. So today we're going to actually focus a bit more on the thing called trust and doing your own research and the importance of reading, understanding, and becoming a bit more educated when it comes to money, finance, business, or just about anything else that you're going to do in life. And we're going to be focusing quite a bit on what's happening in the world of crypto. You may or may not subscribe to the idea that it is one of the fastest growing asset classes out there, but I'm going to argue that it is. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the news and information that we've been able to find, including some of the potential, places where people are taking advantage of you. And so today's topic of the day, or the sort of the thing to keep in the back of your head, is trust and do your own research. Let's do this. And good morning. We're going to get kicked off with something that is very interesting. And let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller so you can actually see what's going on. So, we were talking about trust and importance to read and understand of what's happening. And you still can't see it because it's a bit too big. But there we go. I think that solved the problem. Let's talk a little bit about how people are being taken advantage of. And I did say we're going to talk about the crypto world, but I think that this is happening, in crypto world, outside of crypto world, in stocks, bonds, real estate, just about anywhere where there is financial gains for somebody or ability to make or lose money. You have an ability to be taken advantage of. And that is something that I want to spend time talking about, why it's so important that you actually start looking into things, doing your own research, and understanding of what's going on. So, this first topic is about change.org. And it popped up on Business Insider, and of course, it was featured on Yahoo News, and that's what we're actually taking a look at to find out of what actually has happened and what is change.org, because it sounds like it's this wonderful nonprofit organization that basically fights for human rights left, right, and sideways. But it turns out, at looking at the report and doing a bit of research, that might not quite be the case, and millions of people have likely been taken advantage of. Some of whom maybe they understood what was happening, but it sounds like from this report, the vast majority of people had no clue what was happening. So let's take a look at what actually happened and how corporations, unscrupulous corporations, are taking advantage of people's emotions and good hearted nature. So let's do this. Let's take a look. So, of course, you know that there has been, of course, a George Floyd injustice that has happened, and that's not the only injustice that has happened in the United States or around the world, for that matter. We see this happening all the time. And so let's take a look kind of what happened. So a change.org petition that calls for justice for George Floyd became the most signed U.S. petition in the site's history. After people signed this petition, Change.org urges them to become a hero by donating money to get the petition on the agenda. However, Change.org ends up keeping the money. And this is where our story begins, and this is why so many people are angry. And now that I've actually zoomed out, you can't see anything. So let's zoom back in so you can actually read along and take a look for yourself. So, a petition hosted on change.org calling for justice for George Floyd is now the site's most signed petition ever, over 14 million signatures so far, and this was as of Monday. Now, it's been quite a few days since then, and since the news broke, I don't know if people are going to be doing it, not going to be doing it, but hopefully if you're watching this, at least you're going to be a bit more educated so that when you decide to give your money to somebody or for a cause, you actually understand what you are doing and that you're actually agreeing to do what it is that you think you're doing. So, What happened is that they would come in, they would sign, and funneling those donations back to change.org itself. This is part of the site's fundraising model. They do not pass along donated funds to petition organizers or to affected parties like the Floyd's family. Rather, they keep the money and use it to circulate petition more widely on its site. So basically, let me break this down to you in case you are sitting that in the op. They take your money, they keep the money, and then they use portion of the money to pay themselves. That's operation costs, pay their service, and then pay the advertising fees so that they can have more people dump in more money. That's a definition of a Ponzi scheme if I've ever heard of one. This is part of the fundraising model. This is part of the Ponzi scheme that people just don't know that they're being duped into. The vague wording that led them to believe, so people are starting to get a bit angry, of course, but a vague wording that led them to believe that donations were going to support organizers or Floyd family and that they haven't been able to get refunds. So, a spokesperson told Business Insider that the company spends the money raised from petitions to further circulate petition and on operating costs for change.org's sites. Now, we're going to be doing a little bit of math to find out of exactly, well, not exactly, but approximately how much maybe they could have made. The money raised from petitions goes towards helping the campaign win and helping us maintain our technology platform, making it possible for us to provide people with the tools they need to win the change they want to see. I'm not exactly quite sure how you win when the company keeps all of the profits, but hey, call me crazy. Okay, the spokesperson declined to say how much Change.org has raised from the Justice for George Floyd petition, citing company's policy against disclosing petition-specific revenue. If you are a true non-for-profit, part of your charge is to actually share what you have raised and where the money goes. But, they're not for-profit. They're not for profit company. The spokesperson added that people who donated and want refunds can request them by emailing the site supporting team who will, quotes, aim to be as responsive as possible to refund requests. So one thing that I have, a question that I have, I don't know how you feel about it, is why do you make it so easy to collect people's money? But then when people are saying, wait a minute, I feel duped, I want my money back, we're going to be as responsive as possible. And, you may or may not get your money back. What? Change.org is for-profit, venture-backed company. I think you need to understand that just because they have a fancy name like Change and they have a fancy sort of whatever the things are called technologically .org or whatever, it doesn't mean that they are non-for-profit. It doesn't even mean that they're ethical or that they're using the funds the way that they should. So you got to do your own research, okay? So after people signed the Justice for George Floyd petition, Change.org urges them to become a hero by chirping in a $3 to get this petition on the agenda. Next page, Change.org prompts them to choose between $3, $25, $50, or $100 donation. Now, this is the part that I think is super unethical because, again, you get people to sign the petition. Okay, fine. Like you exchange your email, whatever. Right? But then they basically tap into the good heart of people and the emotional charge of people not feeling okay with what's been happening and what's going on and wanting to see the change, wanting things to shift, wanting to help Floyd's family, wanting to change and put in money towards justice, towards changing our system and how we do things. So they were become a hero, right? Like, doesn't that kind of hit you right here? And you were like, yeah, I want to be a hero. Like, I want to help. So this is basically what they see, right? And they were like, yeah, like, I'll chip in money. Like, I'll be kind. Some donors say they felt misled by the company. That's an understatement. Multiple people who gave money told Business Insider that Change.org's disclaimer weren't clear enough and were incredulous to learn that none of the money would go to the protest organizers. So we had a resident from Oakland, California that signed a petition Friday. Then when she was prompted to donate money and be a hero, she quickly chipped in $25 for the cause. It was only after donating that she realized her money would not go to the organizer of the petition, nor would it go to Floyd's family. I feel kind of stupid, honestly. But she wasn't the only one with this experience, and she shouldn't feel stupid. The company is playing people, and it's absolutely grossly wrong. And I'm not against change. Please understand that. I believe we do need to change as a society in what we do, but I am against company like change.org that is using the name, that is using this a manipulation of emotion, of human emotion, and what is happening in the world to basically make money in this ridiculous Ponzi scheme. I saw the request for donation and, of course, wanted to help the cause. This is from another donor. And then they ended up donating $25 as well. As of Wednesday, the petition page says that over 8.5 million people either contributed money or shared the petition on social media, without providing the specific breakdown, of course, and at least one signer gave $1,000 to the platform. So this is kind of what ends up happening, right? You go in and says, you can be a hero, Nev. Chip in what you can. And of course, people are like, so I'm going to presume, of course, there's people that probably put more money in, and then they kind of put in that, like, get this petition noticed twice as many times. All contributors over 25 will be doubled. They don't say how or where or whether they're going to do it. And you know what? I don't know this for a fact, so this is just my opinion, okay? Nev's opinion, insert here. Are they chipping it? Who is chipping it? Where's the money coming from? So part of me almost wonders if this right here that you see is even true. And this, when I see this and I'm like, oh, 25 or more is doubled. Like, so if I put $25, that means that $50 goes towards the Floyd family. Of course I want to help. So I am going to presume the vast majority of people chipped in at least $25. There might have been some with 50, 100, and of course some people that were 1,000 and probably somewhere in between that really, really wanted to help. Now, I'm going to calculate what we think it might be happening. Change.org site says, quote, every $20 will advertise the petition 250 extra time on change.org. However, by contrast, advertisers spend roughly $2.8 per 1,000 impressions on Google Ads. So why does it cost change.org $20 to advertise, right? Like, why? And so this is the part that is just, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. They're taking advantage of the situation. But let's take a look at kind of specify. So if we were to take, I'm going to go back to my fancy schmancy calculator, aka the phone, and let's do this together. So 8.5 million, okay? And let's assume that out of that 8.5 million, I don't know, 3%, which I think it's way more, but let's go super conservative. The 3% of people put in money, and that's going to come to 255,000. And we're going to assume that an average donation is $25. So that means that the company has banked, if I'm correct, right, with my super conservative math, $6,375,000. Here you go, y'all. $6.3 million that just went to change.org, and none of it goes towards the Floyd family or towards the protests and actually making that change. So, as I told you when we started this stuff like this makes me beyond angry. As a business owner, as a person that believes in social change, as a person that believes in education and is really out there in the world wanting to make a difference, stuff like this makes me incredibly angry, because it's stuff like this that makes the rest of the businesses that are actually doing things legally, ethically, and morally all fall into the same category, and we're all being seen the same way as potentially taking advantage of people. And of course, people don't trust anybody anymore. This is the reason why. But this is the reason why I'm so passionate about what we do at One Deal Away, what we do here at Money Matters, what some of the channels on YouTube and on their platforms, private platforms, are doing. to help educate people and raise awareness, because people need to be aware, and you as an individual need to actually start taking advantage of some of these things and educate yourself to protect yourself from these practices. Because when you know something, it's much harder to take advantage of you. When you know nothing, it's super easy to take advantage of you, because a fancy photo that makes you, tear up a little bit, a sign that says become a hero, donate, and now you are basically agreeing and sending your hard earned cash, but you are being duped. You are absolutely being duped. So, talking about duped, we're going to now switch into what is happening and how people are being duped in the crypto space. And I'm going to do a shameless plug right here that if you are, curious about cryptocurrencies and you're wanting to explore how the whole thing works, to learn a little bit more of how you can protect yourself in the space and, potentially invest if you want to, I invite you to join me for Crypto 101 course. And if you're like, oh my gosh, now he's going to sell me, I'm actually doing it live and I'm doing it absolutely free. So we go live tonight at 5:30 p.m. New York time, as I like to call it, or the Eastern Board time of United States. So 5:30 p.m. Tonight, we're going to go Crypto 101 live. It's going to be part 2, and we're going to be covering some important concepts when it comes to crypto to help you understand so that you can't be taken advantage of as easily. All right, so let's do this. This was on Twitter, and it says, anyone else find it weird that whenever Bitcoin is surging in price, Coinbase or BitMEX just happen to have shortages, power outages, or flash crashes? Twice is a coincidence. 7 times in a month is something else entirely. So, let's take a look at some of the reports of what's been happening. So, you have Bitcoin price surge past 10,000, Coinbase crashes. Yeah, that happens. So, the price crash signaled the third time in 3 quarters when Bitcoin tried to move past 10,500. After Bitcoin moved past 10,400 on Monday, the price moved sideways for a few hours before crashing to the daily low of $9,271, or down 11%. BitMEX exchange, however, the price moved further down to 8,600, and Bitcoin closed at 95.22, reversing the gains from the previous days. Now, it's interesting that they say here, and this is from ibtimes.com. It's interesting that they say it closed. I want to let you know, cryptocurrency markets don't close. It's just they're 24/7, 365. They're constantly being traded around the world, so they don't close. So there's really no closing price. It might have, the day might have ended, but it didn't close. The market doesn't close. It never closes. So just something for you to understand. The crash signaled the third time in 3 quarters when Bitcoin tried to move past 10,500. Now, let's look at the Coinbase, because they've been having issues with BitMEX. But let's look at Coinbase. And the reason I want to look at Coinbase is because a lot of people are using Coinbase to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrencies. And while Coinbase is probably one of the more well-known places where you can actually store your money, trade, and that kind of stuff, it also has an underlying issues that we need to understand and uncover. Coinbase experienced an outage for a few minutes after the move past 10,000 to the disappointment of its users. When it went back online after around 20 minutes, Coinbase users have already missed catching the daily low at the 92.71 level. Coinbase's valuation is currently at $10 billion, prompting users to wonder how a company of such valuation experiences outage during price rallies. Volatility brings profits to traders, so not being able to take advantage of the recent price volatility might make users consider other options, and I think they should. However, Coinbase remains the most popular crypto exchange and wallet in the US and currently holds the most number of Bitcoins in circulation. So something for you to be aware of. The so let me explain. Excuse me. In case you are not a trader or maybe you are just starting out, when nothing is happening, and that's quite lovely for the long-term investors that just sort of do the daily cost average. You buy, you close the app, you go home, and you go about your day. However, when you decide that you are going to actually switch over and start trading, right? So you are starting to play on this volatility, because every time that there's a volatility and movement, especially if it's quite big, that actually means that you have a much better chance to make profits, because you end up betting whether the price is going to go up or down, and having a connectivity that is constant is incredibly important. Imagine that you are at the live auction, right? Because that's kind of what it is. And so there's the bidding going on, and there's this like amazing gadget that is up there, and people are like raising hands. And imagine all of a sudden that you are like muted, and you can't raise your hand, you can't say yes, you can't do anything, and the price is moving left, right, and sideways, and you can't open or close your positions, basically causing you to either A, miss on a potential to make money, or be able to lose quite a bit of money. Now, Cointelegraph does something different, so let's take a look at what they're saying when it comes what's happening with the Coinbase stuff. So, Coinbase repeats a pattern of shutting down when Bitcoin gets volatile. I agree. Members of crypto Twitter are suspecting the busiest exchange in the US may be intentionally crashing its site during volatile times. And you know what? This is possible. We've seen something very similar with Robinhood app, right? So Robinhood is the phone app where you can go in and buy and sell options, ETFs, stocks, and that kind of stuff. And they even have like the crypto version, but you're actually not buying crypto. You're actually just buying like a portion of a stock that kind of follows the crypto. So it's not crypto at all. Coinbase, you're at least buying crypto, but the challenge is that we've seen on Robinhood, that we're seeing now with Coinbase as well, is that it crashes. And so when it crashes, you don't have access to your account. You don't have ability to buy, sell, do anything. You're basically stuck. And that's a huge problem. And so for this reason, unless Coinbase changes stuff, I don't know that I personally would. I'm not a trader. I'm more of a long-term investor, but I don't know that I would personally want to go in it. There are different exchanges and different places where you can trade, and you probably should trade. So before you do stuff, you gotta research, you gotta learn, you gotta protect yourself from these things. So I believe that this is a part where we talk about you gotta become your own person to understand of what's going on to protect yourself. So let's read more. Coinbase has gone offline 4 times in the last 3 months during major Bitcoin price moves, and furious users unable to access their portfolios are demanding answers. On June 1, when Bitcoin rallied from the 9,600s to 10,380 in less than an hour, that's a huge move, by the way. Very, very volatile. You can make or lose a lot of money. Coinbase users trying to access their portfolio were met with a message that the site is temporarily unavailable, as you can see right here. Okay. On May 9th, 2 days prior to the anticipated rewards halving, the price of Bitcoin plummeted nearly $2,000 in under 24 hours. Again, big move, likely due to massive sell-off by whales and other investors. Whales are basically people that own and hold a lot of cryptocurrencies, and so they have, because the market is still kind of slow, when they dump these large amounts or buy these large amounts, it tends to move the price quite a bit. And typically they actually dump because they bought back when it was like 10 cents, and so they bought thousands and thousands and thousands, if not even millions of Bitcoins, and so it's like, to them it's like, yeah, whatever, right? On April 29, BTC rose nearly 12% to reach the 8,600s. On both occasions, many Coinbase users once again were unable to trade any digital assets. This is a big, huge problem, okay? Unfortunately, huge downturns or price surges are often when traders want to buy and sell the most. Losses can mount when users aren't able to access their accounts to sell their crypto. And it's not just rightly. So you have the losses, but you also have the loss of possible profitability. But why? Well, Coinbase cites nothing more than connectivity issues for June 1, May 9th, and April 29th, and network congestion on March 12th. Crypto users, Twitter user Crypto Whale posted a chart to his 18,000 plus followers on June 1 shortly after the recent outage, speculating that Coinbase had built in algorithms to automatically shut it down anytime there was a BTC price movement over $500. Then we have another person from Crypto Capital Ventures basically asking, how does an exchange with 8 billion valuation crash every time Bitcoin pumps 5%? Crypto exchanges, even large ones like BitMEX, do have problems with users' access during price swings. However, Coinbase seems to be developing a reputation for it amongst crypto community. The site itself completely crashed on June 2019, causing the price of Bitcoin to fall under $1,400. Sorry. CoinGraph has reached out to Coinbase but did not receive a response at press time. And you know what? It wouldn't shock me, honestly. I mean, I don't know for a fact whether they do have algos or don't have algos. We know that a lot of companies, a lot of the tech companies do indeed have algos. And Coinbase is fully centralized, fully privately owned company. So they don't have to release any of this stuff, and they likely won't release any of this stuff. And even if they respond, they'll respond with something silly like, well, it's technology. Stuff happens. So, again, I think users should definitely be very, very, very cautious of using Coinbase and, do your own research. You got to protect yourself. And you got to understand of what's going on and what's happening around the world. And, when you're using different companies, make sure you find ways to protect yourself. And honestly, I would not be shocked at all if the users of Coinbase create some sort of class action lawsuit against Coinbase. I don't know if that is going to happen. Again, I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if that happens. And I'm sort of expecting to see the news that is probably going to transpire because people have lost a lot of money. And I had one of the things over here. I didn't put it here, but before we change, talking about sort of unscrupulous companies and taking advantage of people and really funky business models that are developing out there in and out of the crypto space as well. So we talked a little bit about what's going on with Coinbase. We talked about what's happening with Change.org. JP Morgan just settled a lawsuit for, I want to say, like $2.5 billion. Please correct me in the chat or in the comments on YouTube if you're missing the live show, which I believe you shouldn't. I believe you should come for the live show because you never know whether the show will end on YouTube or not. And some of the news that you get early in the morning can actually help you throughout the day. So you can actually get first mover advantage, as they like to call it in the business world. But anyways, JP Morgan has been charging, and again, it comes with Coinbase again. So there's a full circle for you. So a few years back, I want to say 2018, maybe 2019. So again, correct me if I'm wrong and feel free to do your own research as you should. But if you were to use Chase credit card, for example, on Coinbase, for example, to buy some crypto and trade it, you were actually met with some much, much larger fees. And so there was a class action suit against JP Morgan for doing that stuff. So they are settling outside of the court for $2.5 billion. Again, roughly, check me on that. I could be slightly off. And they're basically, the JP Morgan Chase is saying, well, we're settling not because we were in the wrong. We're settling because we don't want to spend more time and money in doing this stuff. And basically part of the settlement is that they are seen as free and clear. They haven't done anything wrong. They're to be forgiven, forgotten, sort of like off the record. None of this ever happened. We are just perfect. And of course, people are going to settle because all they wanted anyways was their money back. And to a place like JP Morgan Chase, the $2.5 billion is just the cost of doing business. So Again, yet another company taking advantage of the people and being able to get away with it. And this is the reason why I'm such a proponent for decentralized world, where everything is transparent, everything is much easier to track. It's much harder to dupe people, take advantage of them, and I sincerely hope that that's where we're going to land. All right, so now let's go back to additional crimes, and this is why you gotta protect yourself. Okay, um, folks, it's a topic of the day. Protect yourself. Know what you're doing. Know what's happening. Don't let others take advantage of you. You gotta study. You gotta learn, and that's the reason why I'm doing Crypto 101 course. That's the reason why I'm doing Money Matters in the mornings, every single morning. Every single morning at 7 a.m. we go live on onedeal.com, onedealaway.com. I forgot my own website, and the reason why I'm creating Academy on One Deal Away. So, you really gotta learn. You really gotta learn. So, amid pandemic, crypto crime surges in first 5 months by Cipher Trace. This is by Reuters. Crypto intelligence company Cipher Trace, which started tracking cryptocurrency crime a few years ago, said it has started to see coronavirus-related frauds that require some form of digital currency payments. Thefts, hacks, and frauds soared to nearly $1.4 billion from the beginning of the year until end of May. This year's crypto crime is on a track to be the second largest on record after last year's 4.5 billion in losses. Consumers, investors, and users continue to adopt cryptocurrency at a massive rate, and it is by far the fastest growing payment system on the planet. At $1 trillion in annual payments, cryptocurrency payments have grown from 0 to 7% in 10 years, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you attach dollar amount, that's a really big move. Coronavirus-inspired fraud generally took place by luring victims of legitimate platforms into chat rooms where payment in Bitcoin can be requested. They were impersonating legitimate entities such as the Red Cross to extract personal information and payment in cryptocurrencies. The largest contributor to crypto losses this year was the 1 billion Ponzi scheme by Wotoken in China. And hopefully I have said this name correctly. The Wotoken scheme offered investors the chance to generate returns for users by employing algorithm trading bots offering referral commission to affiliates. However, the advertised proprietary trading software did not exist. I think that there is some sort of criminal trial happening right now for this. But criminal Cipher Trace report also released findings showing that for the third year in the row, Finnish exchanges in 2019 received the highest number of bitcoins that were supposed to have come from criminal sources. Some 12.01% of tainted bitcoins went through their trading platforms last year. So again, this is one of those things that really gets me to talk about the importance of why you got to do your research, why you got to pay attention, why you got to check stuff. I on daily basis receive these bogus emails of like, hey, we can help you. And, it's a website that it's, clearly spoofed and it's not correct. It's clearly a really large issue that people are going in and they're not paying attention. So they're just clicking on the button. You got to check and verify what is the URL, what is the address, where is it taking you. You got to verify what's going on and then check the company. If anybody says you got to do it right now or never kind of thing, and, you don't have much time to do a research and take a look, and they don't offer money back guarantees and that kind of stuff, walk away. Because people are getting very smart about how to take advantage of people in their hearts and emotions. And if you didn't get anything else from the first 30 minutes of us doing this stuff, I don't know what else you're going to get, honestly, because that's the reason, like I said, the reason that I'm doing these things is because I want to educate you. I want to make sure that you are being well protected of. So we're going to switch topics just a little bit to wrap up today's episode, and hopefully you have been enjoying and learning a whole lot. And again, if you are missing this going live, please do join me tomorrow at onedealaway.com/live, where we can chat and interact. But if you're watching this on YouTube because it's too early wherever you live, or too late for that matter, that's fine. Watch it on YouTube. Do subscribe. Do share this stuff because, again, I just want to help people out. Fair? All right. So, post dollar world may be run by digital yuan. As you know, the Bank of. Oh, this is quite lovely, right? Don't you like this? It's quite lovely. Uh, as you know, China is developing its own cryptocurrency, and the Bloomberg report published on June 1, a number of authors asked if the digital yuan, currently still pilot test, could challenge Bitcoin and even the dollar. And they were kind of going back and forth and talking about whether this would be a reality or not. I don't know how I feel about it because part of it is you got to trust, right? And so I don't know that there's a lot of trust at China right now. I think that they're definitely growing and developing. They're doing a lot of stuff. They have exploded in the tech sector, of course. But, we've seen some issues about reporting and privacy or the lack thereof. The sort of the ability to become a sovereign individual and become a free individual and freedom of speech and all of those different things, although we're struggling in the rest of the world. But it sounds like China may be a little bit more tightly kind of controlling over some of these things. So, in order for something to kind of take off, people have to trust it and believe in it and believe that they can get, that like, everything is a con game, right? Confidence game. So you have to have a confidence in that the country, that the entity, that the bank, that the algorithms are going to do the best for the people. And I don't know if people trust China quite yet. Maybe they will in the future, but I don't know that that's happening right now. Now, British newspaper The Financial Times have asked if the dollar dominance might be eroded by China's dual strategy of buying gold and attempting to link its digital yuan issuance with its Belt and Road Initiative, previously the New Silk Road Initiative. The Central People's Bank of China, that's funny, has alluded on several occasions that it might seek to use digital yuan for cross-border remittance and could turn to countries it has invested in for dollar-free trade deals, providing it could ensure interoperability with third-party e-pay apps. So, again, they could potentially do this stuff. I don't know if they're going to replace BTC because personally, between Bitcoin and Chinese yuan, I kind of trust Bitcoin a little bit more. Actually, a whole lot more. But I could also see that in the trade between the countries and large companies, right now, if you are, say, for example, in Iran and you want to trade with China, you have to trade your currency, which escapes me right now. Is it dinar? I apologize. I can't remember the currency in Iran. They have to exchange it into the dollar and then exchange it into the yuan, and then China has to do the same thing. So this would actually sort of skip the dollar, and they can just trade in one currency. So that's kind of where I could see some of the benefits of this happening. The comments come hot on the heels of calls from prominent voices in the United States, with former regulatory urging Washington to launch a digital dollar and gazump. I don't know what this word is. I'm going to have to look it up. My apologies. My ESL is showing up very strongly here. Gazump. Beijing's plans. That's a fun word. I'm going to keep on saying it. Gazump. Let's gazump into the next thing. And Russian media outlet RVC has asked if BTC is a better investment than the USD right now, with one USD falling below the 70 key ruble mark, despite ruble's own recent weakness. So again, it's going to be an interesting thing. I do expect, as I have shared with you, I expect that every country, every place out there, everything is going to become digital, and governments around the world are going to have cryptocurrencies, as will the companies. And I truly believe that that's a brand new world that is just developing, is just starting. And it will be interesting times for sure. It's just a matter of like who's going to win and who's going to lose, and who's going to become faster at developing and protecting some of these technologies. So it's definitely going to be an interesting piece, and I'm very, very curious to learn as to what you think and what your opinion is. So this wraps up today's episode. I appreciate you watching. If you're here onedealaway.com live, we're going to switch to the chat and hang out for a little while. But of course, we're not going to broadcast that because, I believe that certain things should be private. And so if you're wanting to join the chat and have conversations, you definitely want to be here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, depending. They keep changing it, but it's the same thing, y'all. New York time. Let's go with that. Or Boston time, or Providence time, because that's where we're broadcasting from. But, I hope that if you didn't get anything else out of today, that you will receive information and knowledge that basically helps you understand of how you can protect yourself. And the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is educate yourself. Learn. Follow this channel. Watch us live. Watch other channels. Research the news. And, go above and beyond, because what we cover here is very surfacey. It's very good information to sort of raise the awareness, but it's really inside our courses that we are offering additional information, helping people even more understand even better of what's going on, how things work. And so, again, I hope you will join me tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Providence time, New York time, when we go live, absolutely free, diving into the second part of Crypto 101, basically educating you. And, we're going to have a few more of those, and those are being put in and developed on the platform. We're also developing One Deal Away Academy, where you get to learn all kinds of cool things. I've just actually had conversations with a few dear friends where I am asking them to kind of consider to become sort of instructors at One Deal Away. So we are starting to develop courses, and all of that stuff is going to go inside the academy, and you get it for one super low monthly subscription price that you can cancel anytime. And the cool piece is you do get 7 days free, so you get to try it free for 7 days. You cancel, you don't pay a darn thing. And if you move really quickly, you can actually go probably through a course or two in those 7 days and likely benefit. So thanks for watching. Until next time, stay forever money blessed, and do remember, you are only one deal away. Bye, y'all.